store, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
All right, so this is one of the weeks we've been waiting for. Chock full of excitement. We got Triple Force Friday. Resistance is back, and more Star Wars announcements. This is the Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. I don't really want to kick it off like on a bad note, but I got things to complain about, but I'm good.
Okay. I think we're all with you, because I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
All right, so let me start with a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Disclaimer.
Okay.
I know a lot of people had a good Triple Force Friday.
Right.
You know, I've been on Twitter, things like that. I see people have had a good Triple Force Friday. For me, on the other hand, and our area, I think this is more a side effect of the area we're in.
Possibly, yeah.
Because, yeah, this was a bust. And I don't want to use that term, but I don't think any term describes it the right way.
Right.
It was a bust. So first off, I kind of missed the midnight releases.
Right.
Okay, because I gotten ill, and I just didn't have the energy nor the desire to get out there. I think this was fate protecting me from utter disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because while I did get out on Friday, I felt well enough to go out on Friday early. Like, I was out early in the morning on Friday.
Right.
And I got to all these stores, and there's just nothing.
Okay, so you don't think this is a symptom of, everything just being picked over since you didn't make it out there at midnight?
No, so I did my due diligence on that. I found some employees.
Okay.
And I started talking with them.
Okay.
And what prompted this is it was at a Walmart store, which Walmart was supposed to have all these exclusives, right?
Right.
Like, there was these boxes with t-shirts in them and the gold figures, and like there was all this stuff that was supposed to be exclusive to Walmart.
Right.
There was none of that. I mean, they had like a few packs of the gold figures.
Okay.
But what I ended up finding is I found a little display that was probably, I don't know, 3.5 feet high by 4 foot wide.
Wow.
Okay. I found this display just in a cardboard, said Triple Force Friday on it and everything. And I'm like, where's all the figures? And they're like, oh, they're on the shelf now. We moved them off of this onto the shelf. I was like, off of this? It's like, is this all you had? Yeah, we didn't get much. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is supposed to be Triple Force Friday, like this big deal,
Right.
Three Star Wars things coming out, so triple the merchandise. Well, I went to this same Walmart on the last Force Friday.
Right.
And they had a midnight release. They had a whole section of the store closed off in their garden section.
Uh-huh.
And they had shelf of stuff. This time they had a 3x4 display.
Cardboard display. Yeah.
And they were still able to take the stuff off of that and put it on the shelf.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well, does it?
I'm like, what's going on here? So I go to a couple other stores, looking around like, okay, maybe this place was just a bust. I go over to GameStop. GameStop I had heard was This was the place you could get the Purge Trooper. The only place. It was a GameStop exclusive or some crap like that.
Right.
Well, I get there, and they got this like little table with like some Funko Pops on it and a lanyard and, you know, some advertising cardboard things, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, did you guys not get anything for Triple Force Friday? They're like, that's it right there. I was like, are you, what?
Oh, man.
This little table, like this end table you have right here is everything you got? Yeah, I was like, well, where's the Purge Trooper? Purge Trooper? Yeah. You know, the one that says GameStop exclusive? Hold on, let me look. Yeah, there's nothing Purge Trooper in our system.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, nothing Purge Trooper in your system? So I was like, okay. And I keep looking around the store. I go around, I look at their pegs where they got the Black Series 6-inch figures and stuff. I come back and I talk to the guy again, and I'm like, oh, what do you got back there? And he's got a couple figures back there, a couple Black Series figures behind the counter.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about those.
Nice.
Okay, let's look at these. And he's got the it's like the first edition Mandalorian 6-inch Black Series figure.
Okay.
And a carbonized second sister.
Oh, okay.
Well, since I couldn't make it out, so I guess second disclaimer. Since I couldn't make it out, we kind of preempted some of this stuff on the internet.
Okay.
Which thank God we did, because if we wouldn't have done this, I would have got jack.
Right.
But we bought a bunch of stuff online. So we got a carbonized Mandalorian and we got a regular Mandalorian. We got a Sith Trooper carbonized, which we got that in the mail yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Dude, that carbonized Sith Trooper,
Yeah.
that is a gorgeous figure.
Oh, cool.
I mean, if you're a Star Wars collector and you collect these figures and things like that, and you do not have this Sith Trooper carbonized, get your hands on one. This is a beautiful figure.
Sweet.
Highly recommend that one. But anyways, back to GameStop. So I pick up the carbonized second sister figure.
Right.
And then I asked him, I was like, oh, do you guys have the pin if you pre-order Jedi Fallen Order? He goes, oh, yeah. So I pre-ordered Jedi Fallen Order and then proceed to chastise the guy a little bit because I got my Purge Trooper pin that comes with Jedi Fallen Order. I'm like, so Purge Trooper's not in your system at all, but you just hand me a Purge Trooper pin.
Right. I don't think this guy's reading the company memos.
No, I watched it. I mean, he was looking in the system. Like this guy was like, he really wanted to help me. So me being kind of the jackass that I was being a little bit wasn't super fair. And, you know, I ended up thanking him at the end, you know, and thanks for putting up with my bullshit. You know, but I was very upset about this. Like that is, you know, we talked about this last week or the week before, I believe. Week before. And I talked about how I really wanted that Purge Trooper and the Mandalorian. Basically all the troopers.
Right.
And the Mandalorian. That's pretty much what I'm after.
Yeah.
So, but my quest had to continue because the one figure we weren't able to pick up online was Cara Dune.
Oh, okay.
This figure is sold out everywhere.
Wow.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So, like, my quest continues, and I go to a couple more stores. I found at the next store, the only thing I found on the shelf that was worth buying was a 3 3/4-inch vintage series Knight of Ren.
Wow.
I mean, they had nothing else. A couple Rays, but I really don't need another Ray figure. In my opinion, I got 2 versions of Ray already. this one isn't that much different.
Right.
And not only is it that much different, but this figure kind of looks a little weird.
Yeah.
I was talking with Crystal Ann about this, and she said the same thing. She's like, this figure just looks weird.
Right.
Like, it doesn't really look like Rey. I don't know what they're doing here. So.
I think we talked about that a little bit, too.
Yeah, it looks weird.
Yeah.
So we passed on that figure. I will say this. Remember we talked about the capes and stuff?
Yeah.
The rubberized capes on these figures?
Yeah.
While they still look weird,
Uh-huh.
on the carbonized versions of these characters,
Yep.
the capes look a lot better.
Okay.
They still look weird because they're not cloth, and cloth has been what they've done in the past,
Right.
especially with the Kylo Ren one. I
Yeah.
still think the Kylo Ren one looks really weird because it sits really high on his shoulders in a weird way.
Yeah.
But the second sister one actually looks serviceable in that carbonized figure.
Cool. Huh.
But
That's strange.
yeah, what's up?
Nothing. I was just talking about how, just strange the way they, especially the Kylo Ren figure, like you were talking about, all bunched up on the shoulders and stuff. I did notice that when we were looking at the photos. Yeah. It is kind of odd. Yeah. I guess it's the, his hood or whatever, but being whatever this rubberized type of material it is, it does seem kind of odd. It's, yeah, I don't know. We're used to the figures. I don't know. It almost seems like they're designing these figures exclusively for display, if they're doing that, as opposed to having them for play.
Right. So, I guess my ultimate point here is, you remember a couple weeks ago we had a big discussion about GameStop closing stores, right?
Yeah.
And I went off on a tangent about, us all buying stuff online, buying digital content, not supporting these, brick and mortar businesses.
Right.
And it taking away from these midnight experiences where you go out, you meet people, you do stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta say, for a business like GameStop, okay, one, you didn't do yourself any favors here.
Right.
If you force me to buy online, I am not going to feel bad for you.
Exactly. That's the problem, right? I mean, maybe, it might be.
It may be the fault of their suppliers. Okay.
Right.
And I am pretty sure the company to point your fingers at right now is probably Hasbro.
Okay.
Okay. Because this is the kind of Hasbro crap that I've been pissed off with for so long.
Right. So,
this lack of support merchandise wise. And then to put something out there like, oh, well, Star Wars figures aren't making that much money. We ain't making any.
Right.
I'm pretty sure your profit margin's doing all right since you ain't putting nothing out there.
Yeah.
And they're all selling out everywhere before anyone can get their hands on them. Either that or there's the even bigger problem. People are just stealing the crap.
I don't know about that. I do have kind of like two questions. So, which I think one just left my brain. But so what do you think of, I've heard rumors of them holding back a lot of merchandise due to like packaging having spoilers for episode 9 on it and stuff. What do you make of that?
Well, I can say this. If you advertise Triple Force Friday and you're holding back the merchandise that you've been advertising for this big event, you're idiotic. And someone like me, if I find out that you advertised all this merchandise for Triple Force Friday,
right,
had me go out on Friday, do all this stuff, like I was totally ready to go out at midnight, And it got to midnight, and I'm like, or it got to 11 o'clock, and I was like, there's no way.
Right.
Like, I'm too sick.
Yeah.
So I put it off, but I made it a point to go out early Friday morning to go get stuff before it completely got picked dry.
Right.
And I get out there and there's nothing. If I find out that was like that because it's like, oh, there might have been spoilers on our packaging. Well, you made the packaging.
Right.
You also did the advertising campaign for all this stuff. So you probably could have, like, not put all the spoilers on the packaging and just put like, hey, this is Rey.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Not put a story like during the battle with the First Order and blah, 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 blah. This was your choice.
Or maybe it's the figures themselves, right? Maybe you have a Kylo Ren with a, removable head or something. Hey, Django, right? So the other thing I was thinking of, do you think it's regional? Neither you nor myself are necessarily in a big metroplex area. Do you think that's a problem?
It could be. I reached out to some friends I have in Toledo, Ohio.
Uh-huh.
A little bit bigger area than my area.
Right.
Because I'm, suburb area of Michigan.
Right.
Really small town I live in, and the next city is not very large. So
right.
But I reached out to some friends that I have that are into Star Wars collecting in Toledo. They didn't have much luck as well as I did. They didn't do much either.
Gotcha.
The stuff that they got online. But like I said, according to Twitter, there were a lot of people that had a good Force Friday. Found big displays. Like, I saw pictures of huge displays. There was none of that near me.
Yeah, I saw some of those pictures too. And after what you described, it was kind of, I mean, that's why I asked about the regional thing, because, you understand companies making business decisions about, how much product to put into certain areas. But you would think that, I don't know, maybe they could kind of allude to, hey, if you're really looking for everything, you need to get to a more populous area or something. Go to the larger stores in the larger cities. I don't know.
So since last Friday, I've hit probably about a 50-mile radius.
Right.
And there's nothing anywhere around here.
Wow.
I mean, I can't imagine that Star Wars merchandise doesn't sell that good in this area to affect a 50-mile radius. Like,
yeah, that seems odd.
But I will say, a lot of the people on Twitter that we follow, things like that, they are in much more densely populated areas.
Right.
You're talking New York.
Oh yeah.
Francisco, Las Vegas, etc.
Yeah.
So them having more success is probably because of that. I wasn't able to make it over to Detroit. See if Detroit had anything.
Yeah. That's Yeah, I can see how that's very frustrating. I mean, it's it's an event you're looking forward to participating in that just turns out to be a kind of a dud,
Well, yeah, and like I said, I participated in the last one.
Right.
Which, I mean, I did that one for that Thrawn figure. That's the whole reason I went out. But,
right.
Was that for The Last Jedi?
Oh, I think so.
It was either The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens. I think it was The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because Thrawn didn't come till after The Force Awakens, right?
I think you are correct on that, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So it's for The Last Jedi. Much better showing figure-wise for that one.
Right.
You know what? Maybe it was just a thing that, because Rey's speeder was one of the things we picked up then. And Ray Speeder wouldn't have nothing to do with The Last Jedi.
True.
But at the same time, I think I might have got the Praetorian Guard. So I'm not sure.
But hey.
This stuff all blends together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was The Last Jedi because I wore my Last Jedi shirt.
Ah.
I think there's even a Twitter post for me. Reflecting. So, yeah, it was The Last Jedi.
Okay.
That's when it... And they had all kinds of stuff, man. They had drones.
Right?
You know, they had a lot of cool stuff. Oh yeah, because I picked up the Luke figure, the Thrawn figure, the Praetorian Guard. Yeah, so yeah, this one was a bust.
Yeah, well, that's disappointing to hear. I don't know. All I got to say is I hope they can, like, you know, get a handle on this and make it a funner experience for everyone, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, and you know, we talk about the last one, The Last Jedi. It was for The Last Jedi.
Right.
This was for The Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Jedi Fallen Order. You know, The Mandalorian.
Right.
I mean, I saw some pops at GameStop.
Right.
And what's funny is, so I talk about that little table at GameStop.
Yeah.
And kind of like dogging on them a little bit. But GameStop actually had more merchandise than everywhere else I went.
Oh my gosh.
Because they had all those pops.
Wow.
The other places had some figures. But not the ones I was after.
Right.
And not the ones they should have. Like all the Black Series ones, I think the only other thing I got in my hand at one time was, I think I found a Jawa. But I had already got one online, so it didn't matter.
Oh, wow.
But, I mean, really, I go out and all I can find is the Jawa figure?
Yeah.
I mean, GameStop had the best selection of the Black Series figures, too.
Interesting.
And I thought that was dismal.
It's also interesting that it sounds to me like they've really underserved the Cara Dune figure. Because, you know, if you can't find that anywhere, like you're saying, it's like, why is that? I mean,
I don't know. And it might be a demand thing, too.
okay, but
And they might have limited where it released, because we started looking into it a little more.
uh-huh.
And the only place that had ever had it listed was Target.
Oh, really?
So we're kind of wondering if it was a Target thing.
Like an exclusive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though I can't find anywhere that said it was an exclusive to Target, but it's the only place that we can find it ever being listed. But yeah, Crystal Ann really wanted that figure, and I was literally out on a mission on Friday to find that figure and that figure alone because she wanted it so much.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, when you're a huge Star Wars fan and your significant other wants something from Star Wars.
Yeah, this is a priority.
I mean, you're going to tread through hell and high water to find that damn figure.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, definitely a priority. And I really wanted to see one in person because I was looking at some of the images compared to the figures that I saw.
Right.
And after seeing some of the figures in my hand,
Uh-huh.
like the second sister was one of the ones I kind of complained about a little bit on the last show.
Right.
Or 2 shows ago. And after seeing it in my hand, it looks a lot better than it did in that photo.
Well, that's good to hear.
So I was really excited because I kind of complained about the way that Cara Dune figure looked in that photo.
Right.
So I was really excited to see one in person because it's like, okay, I've seen these other figures. How's this going to look?
But to no avail.
It was not to be.
Right.
We did get the Cara Dune pop
Okay.
online, of course. But we did get that, so there is a little bit of that desire to have a Cara Dune figure slated a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, she really wanted that Black Series.
Yeah. With the anticipation of the show, I would have thought that, they'd had a little more supply, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the only other Black Series figure I saw a Cal figure.
Okay.
So I saw Cal, Rey, the Mandalorian's second sister, and the Jawa.
Gotcha. So,
never saw a Sith Trooper, never saw a Purge Trooper, never saw, I'm sorry, Sith Trooper, Purge Trooper? How the hell do you not have more of these?
right.
These are figures that people are going to buy up. Don't give me this Black Series trying to keep it limited crap.
Right.
Okay. If you're going to keep it limited, that's fine. But there should be some in the wild.
Yeah, you would think.
So I think I've done enough complaining about this, though.
Right.
But like I said, that you have a name like Triple Force Friday, and you've been pushing it as long as you have. It should have been better.
Yeah.
And I'll end by saying I am super happy for the people that did have a good Triple Force Friday. I'm glad you had that experience. The reason I complain is because I wish I had that experience.
Of course.
But I am not angry or jealous at those who did. I am happy for you. I'm glad some of us in fandom got to have a good day.
That's a nice way to put a cap on that one. I like it. Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, so we are going to have to kind of almost shotgun through the rest of this stuff because I'm a little long-winded sometimes. So It's all right. It's all right.
So if you have a problem, blame me. It's not Doug's fault.
Nice.
All right, so this is going to be an interesting one because this is kind of a hot button topic right now. But I feel we would be doing a disservice to ourselves if we didn't touch on it. So, Rose Tico. There is a very large controversy about some artwork that came out and the exclusion of Rose from said artwork.
Okay.
Okay, so there was a poster that came out that had, all the characters on it, and Rose was one of those characters.
Right.
But there was I believe it's a calendar. Don't quote me on this, but there's a calendar coming out that includes this artwork. And in this artwork, Rose is omitted, and there's an addition of a very weird looking alien.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And people are very upset about this, which it's understandable. If you're a Rose Tico fan and you see artwork with her and then artwork without her, you have every right to be pissed off.
Sure.
Okay.
Everyone wants to see their, if Rose is your favorite character, then yeah, you want to, wherever you see your favorite character pop up, you want to,
Yeah, you want that, right?
You want that. You want that, and when you see it there, and then not, you
got to question it.
You question it, exactly. Yeah, understandable.
And, yeah, we understand that you are doing your diligence, especially as Star Wars fans. We're always like, "What the hell?"
Right.
Why did this change?
Yeah.
So, one thing I want to point out, and so you remember, Doug, we did a portion about some leaked artwork a while back, and I want to say it was Making Star Wars that leaked this this poster image.
I believe you are correct.
I'm just trying to grasp from memory. I may be wrong on that, but I believe it was Making Star Wars. But we looked at this poster art. I think we commented on that alien. It was like, why the hell's that alien there?
Right. And this is the one, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the one that first showed 3PO with a bowcaster, right?
And the bandolier and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. And the Sith troopers at the bottom all in red, right? And it was the one that it was being tossed around whether it was, because I believe the quality of this first image that was making its way around the internet wasn't great quality, so people were wondering if it was some sort of like, Photoshop job or something.
Right. It was very grainy.
Yes.
And not. So it turns out it was grainy for a reason. It was probably a thumbnail that someone stole, like, and blew up.
Right.
So this is why you get that grainy type, non-professional looking image. Because, so I just want to start by pointing out that this image predates the image with Rose in it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that image was an early image. So the artist who created this image, Brian Root, okay?
Yeah.
He has responded to the hashtag Where's Rose movement.
Okay.
And he says, look, this was a very, early image. The new image is here. At the time, I did not have access to the Rose imagery. So it was not an option in his early artwork.
Huh.
So the decision to put it on this calendar or whatever, that's something else, okay?
Right.
It's not the artist's fault here.
So he didn't have reference material then?
Right. He did not have reference material for Rose at that time.
Okay.
So that's why Rose didn't appear on the first piece of artwork.
Okay.
All right. And then he shared the new image with Rose included and things like that. He says, I'm with you, essentially,
Right.
Which is fine. I mean, it's, I don't know, but I just wanted to point out that image was an old image.
Okay.
So this image is not replacing Rose. This image was before Rose.
Gotcha.
The decision to use it in this calendar or whatever it was, I can't explain that, and I'm not going to try to.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's somebody else's decision. Some sort of calendar publishing house or something.
I personally don't believe it was used with the intention of excluding Rose.
Right.
But I can't say that for sure. So I won't.
Right. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Makes sense. Right. You don't have enough information. So, yeah.
But one thing I would like to address as a collector, as someone who goes out and gets figures, things like that.
Right.
Okay. And this may not be popular, but I'll say it anyway. There's a big, with this Where's Rose thing, it's kind of spawned into where's all the Rose merchandise, right?
Gotcha.
And disclaimer, I have zero problem with the character of Rose Tico.
Right.
Okay. I am not a Rose hater. Rose doesn't bother me as a character. I rather enjoy, especially Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is literally, I wish she was more involved at times because she's one of my favorite people in the new cast because she's just a fun person.
Right.
She's so energetic, so lively, like just a fun person in fandom. So I just want to say that before I say the next portion, because I don't want it to come off the wrong way.
Right. Well, I was going to say, we've talked about this in the past, and we've talked about how she's embraced Star Wars and Star Wars fans, up until a point. And then, things happened. But
right. And her reason for bowing out is pretty understandable.
Exactly.
When you get attacked by people who, I'm sorry, those people do not represent the rest of us in Star Wars fandom.
Exactly.
They just don't.
Exactly.
Okay. Though that is sickening to me.
Right.
No one should ever attack another person like that, especially based on a fictional character.
Right.
Okay. I respect everybody's opinion on the characters they like and the characters they embrace. And like I said, I like Rose. I like Kelly Marie Tran. But I do have to say this as a collector. Okay? You want more Rose merchandise.
Yep.
If you want more Rose merchandise, the fact that you can go to Walmart right now and go to the clearance section and there's a ton of Rose Tico figures swinging on the pegs.
Uh-huh.
This is not the way that you get more merchandise. Okay?
Right.
And this is the part I think that will be unpopular. Your tweets don't make money. Okay? So tweeting that you want more Rose merchandise is not going to get you more Rose merchandise. Okay? Buying Rose merchandise will get you more.
Right.
Disney is a commercial enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay. And Hasbro is a commercial enterprise. Now, my opinions of Hasbro withstanding, or notwithstanding.
Right.
If you have a figure that is not selling, you probably aren't going to see a ton more merchandise from that figure. Like Constable Zuvio is not going to see a whole line of stuff. It's just
right.
That's the way it is. And the Rose figures are kind of entering that territory.
Right.
They just didn't sell.
Yes, this is true. This has been well documented.
This is contrary to the support the character has.
Right.
Okay. And this is why I venture to say the people that are speaking for this are not buying the figures. And this is a problem.
Right. So what you're alluding to here, right, is that speculation, okay? Just throwing this out there. There's a possibility that this is a calendar, right? That this artwork is involved with.
Yep.
Okay. Whoever's putting this together can see the support, the monetary support of other characters and not so much with the Rose character. So when they're putting their thing together, they're putting it together with the things that made the most money.
Essentially.
Essentially. Yes.
They might just be taking the first image that came out and put that on there. They might not be looking at what characters are on it at all. Which I think is more likely the case.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, business decisions are made, for money, right? I mean.
Oh yeah, and that's my point. It's all about money.
Right.
I went over this last week. It's all about money. I mean, we can say this or that, or we love this, we love that. You can say you love something. But if your dollars don't speak that,
right,
then they're not going to continue to make it.
Yeah.
So just my advice is, if you want to see more Rose products, you need to buy the Rose products that are out there.
Absolutely.
I know not everybody's an action figure collector.
Right.
Okay. I get that. But that's not the only Rose products that are out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. You've made this point, like, in my opinion, very, very clearly. It's it all makes logical sense, and it's not charged from any certain direction or either. It's all of this. No matter how much we love these stories and the characters involved in them, it is a business. So, future business decisions do get made on the results of past decisions. So, it's kind of how.
And I'll say this. That, so for anyone who wants to get mad at me about this, okay.
Yeah.
I have this statement. I own a Rose figure. Do you?
Right.
So if you want to see more product, buy the damn product.
Yeah.
Period. Like, I just don't feel like the amount of vocal support that there is for this character is not getting the same monetary support. And I think you need to do both if you want to see more.
Absolutely. That would be the most powerful way to show support, to be honest about it.
It really is.
More than words. The dollars speak louder.
I mean, so let's just look at it from this just point of view. What is the most successful, if you had to name the most successful Star Wars merchandise, character-wise, figure-wise, what would your list consist of?
Mine?
Yeah. Just if you had to just say what you thought was the most popular stuff, just judging by what you've seen over the years.
Well, I would, over all of my years, I would say probably Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, the droids, troopers.
Wow. Interested in your list there.
Why?
Why? Because I would say probably the most popular one, the most popular figure, probably, and I'm sure there's statistical data to support this, would probably be Darth Vader.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So Vader is probably the top seller of all time, if I had to pick one.
Probably so. Primarily because it's such an iconic image, right?
Right.
And
troopers are up there because they wouldn't consistently make new ones and different ones and things like that.
Right.
If there wasn't so much interest. And every time they make a new one, this stuff sells, man.
Right.
There's some that have fallen flat, to be sure.
Sure.
But the interest is there that they keep doing it.
Yeah. Either one of these things that you're talking about, Vader or the troopers, they are exclusive to this franchise to the point where, fans will get one and they'll put a figure on their dashboard of their car or whatever, and it's anyone who sees it knows exactly what that's from.
Right.
Then
just to further my point, new figure, right? New character.
Yep.
Good luck finding this character on shelves because it is so popular that it sells out everywhere. Ahsoka Tano has had more figures made than most new characters. Probably all new characters.
Yeah.
I would say there's probably more Ahsoka Tano merchandise out there than there is Rey merchandise. Ahsoka sells.
I can see
and
that.
Ahsoka sells like crazy.
Yeah.
Okay? If you don't believe me, head over to her universe. Check it out.
Right.
When they put out new Ahsoka stuff, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone. They just sell out. I was in line at the Her Universe booth in Chicago to get that Ahsoka long sleeve tee that they had.
Right.
it was like the hardest thing to get at Celebration,
That's amazing.
clothing wise. And I got one. Super excited. Took 2 tries, but I got one.
Awesome.
So
But yeah, definitely see that. And, I think you made
that's,
an excellent point. So,
yeah, like I said, my point is buy the stuff and
Right.
they'll make the stuff. So it
absolutely.
works.
Absolutely.
All right. Enough of the downers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Thrawn.
What about Thrawn?
We have made we have made it very clear, I think, on this show that we love Thrawn.
Yes.
It goes back to the Thrawn trilogy, way back.
Early Empire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we got a new one, and we were super happy. We're getting another Thrawn trilogy.
A third?
A third Thrawn trilogy.
Nice.
So we are getting Thrawn, the Ascendancy trilogy. And this, from what I gather from this article here, this is I think it's gonna be a prequel.
Just from the title, it would lead me to believe that.
Yeah. So it's gonna focus on Thrawn and the Chiss Ascendancy.
Exactly. Yeah. And there we go.
Which when I first read it, I was kind of mixed feelings. Okay. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
One thing I love with some of these characters like Thrawn, like Yoda, I love the mystery in the character.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Okay. So I don't know how much I like the, pulling back the curtain a little more.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to see you pull back the curtain a little more. So
Right.
I got mixed feelings.
So, with the latest trilogy that's been released, I will say there's enough, okay, involving the Chiss that it leads me to believe that the Chiss being a unique species in Star Wars, Thrawn is still unique among the Chiss, is the impression I get. So I have a feeling that even though we might learn more about the Chiss, we might learn where Thrawn comes from, some of his lineage, backstory, whatever, I think we're still going to find that, he's unique among unique characters, which could still leave some of that, quote unquote mystery you talk about.
Okay. I dig that. And I could see that. Even with everything that was said in the first book when he described his people.
Right.
You get the feeling that he is different, even amongst his people.
Right.
So, yeah, I dig that. And I hope that's the case.
Right.
I do hope for that, because that would leave some of the intrigue into Thrawn.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want him to... I just don't want to see you flesh out his people and him just be like one of the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then that takes away that awe about Thrawn.
Exactly. And I think like I said, from what we've seen so far, and I'm talking, it's a mere I don't want to say taste, but just a small glimpse into it. I get the impression that he is unique. he's liked by some, and I don't want to say despised, but looked upon speculatively by others.
Would you say by most?
I'm not sure yet.
Liked by some, disliked by most?
I don't think we've seen enough of the Chiss yet to make that decision. So, but I think we have seen enough to know that he is definitely unique amongst a unique species in Star Wars.
Well, he's definitely liked enough to send Eli Vanto to his people and them not kill him.
Right.
So there's that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm definitely excited about another Thrawn trilogy. It just means I really have to finish up the current one.
Yes, you do. Yeah,
I can't believe I haven't yet.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, there'll be an episode coming that's going to be dedicated to all that.
Right on.
I think Hunter will make that happen.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, we're going to try to get him back on the show, and he's going to be like, are we talking about Thrawn?
Right.
Well, maybe not this time. Well, I'm not coming back on.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's funny.
And if he does, and even if he did come back on without talking about that, he's just going to berate me about it.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. You can count on that one.
So, yeah. We got to do it.
Right on.
And we got to do it to get ready for the next one.
Yes.
All right. So, Rebel Force Radio. They had a pretty interesting announcement, if you will.
Yeah.
Rebel Force Radio was able to confirm that Dennis Lawson is coming back to reprise his role as Wedge Antilles in The Rise of Skywalker.
So all I got to say about this is wow. I think this is awesome, and it just makes me smile. How's that?
Well, I'm with you. Maybe not for the same reasons. Like I like Wedge and all, but like,
yeah.
I'm not like one of the people that's like, Wedge needs to be in it. I don't feel that way. What does make me smile is how much Dennis Lawson was so against ever coming back to that character ever again. And now he's doing it.
And that's exactly what I'm referring to that makes me smile.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really got less to do with the character of Wedge than it has to do with Dennis. And because this happened a lot back then, right? I mean, Star Wars was so huge and such a big hit that a lot of these actors, you know, all anyone wanted to talk to them about was Star Wars, right? So imagine getting bombarded with that all the time, right? As fans, we would think, yeah, that'd be great. But as an actor, you're probably thinking, look, I can do other stuff, you know?
Right.
So
my career can't be this,
right?
You know, I want to make a career, and you know, okay, even if I do 4 more Star Wars movies, so I have 4 more movies in my career,
right?
Like as an actor, you don't want to be defined by that.
Exactly.
You want to be defined by the fact that you can do whatever.
Yes.
As a good actor, you want to be known as someone who can do a bunch of stuff.
Right. So
you know,
I think this led to some of them resenting their roles in the long run.
Because being known as Wedge Antilles is not much different than being known as Dennis Lawson.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing. You know, like if you're just known for being you, then you're not a good actor.
Right.
If you're just known for being Wedge Antilles, then you know you feel like you're not a good actor. And I add that to the first time I said that. Feel like you're not a good actor.
Right.
You know, as an actor, you want to be treated like you could step into any role at any time, which there are actors out there that we associate with that.
Yes.
You know, Brad Pitt.
Right.
He's an actor that he can play Achilles
Yep.
in Troy, and then you see him in Inglourious Bastards, and it's a different, you know.
Oh, totally. Totally.
You know, Leo DiCaprio is another one.
Right.
You know, you can see him in Gatsby as Gatsby,
Right.
and then you can see him in Titanic. It's a different role.
Yep.
And then you can see him in Gangs of New York.
Right.
So these actors want to be known as versatile.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what you've just shown there is diversity of these actors' ability to play roles, right? And when everybody that walks up to you, hey, Dennis Lawson, Wedge, and that's what everyone says, then you start to think, geez, you know, I need to do something else now.
Right.
So, but I'm thrilled to hear that maybe some of that earlier resentment has kind of faded, and you know, this is going to be another a tie-in, I guess you could say, to the old trilogy. So
I'm going to say that all they told him was like, they're like, hey, you want to do Star Wars again? He's like, no. They're like, well, Ian McDiarmid's doing it. Okay.
Right, could be,
Because Ian's like Ian McDiarmid, while he's known for being the Emperor in big cinema,
right?
but as an actor, you know, on stage, things
Yeah.
like that, he's known for being versatile.
Oh yeah,
He's an
Totally.
old school actor,
yes,
you know, like a Christopher Lee.
right,
Played Dooku, but he was a Bond villain.
right,
You know, Christopher Lee wasn't known just for being Dooku.
very true.
In fact, that's probably one of his least memorable roles.
Yeah, honestly, he's been you know, he's been a lot of stuff over the years. So
You know, like everyone wants to be like Harrison Ford.
right, exactly.
And I just say that as versatility wise, you know,
Absolutely.
because you can't pick with Harrison Ford. It's like, is he Han Solo or is he Indiana Jones? You
Well,
don't know.
You know what? For me, he's always Han Solo. But, you know, Indiana Jones is a close second, right? And there's so many other characters that he's played that, you know, pick any of them. And it's
Well, that's like, so have you seen Ender's Game yet?
yes.
Have you read Ender's Game?
No.
Damn it.
I know. I was busy reading Thrawn. Come on.
But Ender's Game is one of those movies, like, even if you've read the book,
Uh-huh.
right? You read the book and you're like, you read the book, watch the movie, and you're like, man, I really have a lot of problems with this movie. Harrison Ford is not one of them, but I have a lot of problems with this movie.
Right, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
You know, it's like, I mean, at first, I thought Harrison Ford played that character a little light.
Okay.
Like, he wasn't cruel enough.
Ah.
But as I watched it more, it's like, yeah, he's plenty cruel. Like, he is kind of an asshole the whole time.
Right on.
So, yeah, but yeah, Dennis Lawson coming back. That's cool.
It is cool.
You know, just as I just wonder, like, what's he gonna do? Like, is he gonna be a pilot still?
Well, I would hope so. I would totally hope so. I also think that he may be part of some ancillary resistance type group. So, if not just part, like maybe heading one up,
So I had an interesting idea, and it's kind of off the wall and kind of a little crazy fan service wise.
Okay.
But do you think they recruit Wedge because Wedge is still in charge of, if not the, but a version of Rogue Squadron?
Oh, absolutely. Which, I gotta say, that would not only be a nod back to the OT, that would be a nod back to the old EU books, which would make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, that's really what I was leaning towards, because the OT, Wedge was barely in charge of Rogue Squadron.
Right.
That was mostly Luke.
Yep.
But it would be more of a nod to the EU. And yeah, I think that would be just awesome. Maybe he's not, taking up the fight himself. Maybe he's not actually in a ship anymore. Maybe more of like a admiral or general type role.
Right.
But he is still kind of leading a group like Rogue Squadron.
Right.
That never left him.
I would love to see some interaction between Wedge and Poe. Hot shot
for sure.
pilot to hot shot pilot, right? I mean,
yep.
That would be a cool scene. So let's have that.
Wedge being a little less cocky.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Well, a little wiser, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was kind of Wedge's appeal, I think. In the movies, in the books, he was never really that cocky.
Right.
He was good, but he never really told you he was that good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Excited to see Wedge back.
Totally.
All right. Well, we should probably talk about Resistance.
Yes, we should.
It's back. And not only that, but I finally get to talk about this episode.
You've only been waiting, what, 5 months, 6 months?
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So I am excited to finally talk about this. I gotta ask, did anybody think I was like really hiding something super special?
Oh, I was thinking you were.
I couldn't do it. They asked everybody to like, hey, shh. So I obliged.
Right. Well, I'm sure they appreciate that.
But it I gotta say, it was a good episode, was it not?
It was good. Yes. Maybe a little different than what I was expecting, but still good.
Yeah, I did find that in my being secretive.
Uh-huh.
I kind of gave maybe a little bit of a false hope of like something super epic.
Right.
While it was just a standard episode of Resistance.
Right. I mean, okay, so when we say standard episode, right? Kaz is Kaz, and they're losing the gravity generators during this episode, and seems like every time everyone started floating a little bit, Kaz ended up upside down, and when the generators come back on, he falls on his head. So, it's that's typical Kaz. But
yeah. But diving into the meat of it and the stuff I really didn't want to let out by talking about it is T.W.A.M.
Right. Yeah, that if there's anything that was on the heavier side in this episode, that was it.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to keep my mouth shut.
Right.
Because I did not want to reveal everything that happened with Tim.
Yeah.
I felt that was pretty weighty in itself.
Right. The fact that she's willing to give up her friends, who she says are no longer her friends anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
And she has convinced herself that the First Order is a cause that she believes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
trying to make the galaxy a peaceful place, right?
Yeah, which is a common thread we've seen with Tam.
Yep.
She's talked about that.
Yeah.
About the First Order. Well, they're just trying to, do this, this, and this.
Right.
Something we've heard time and time again from her.
Yep. Trying to make it a peaceful galaxy, trying to keep us safe, trying to, keep law and order.
But the bottom line is, they're offering her a chance to be a pilot.
Yeah.
They are playing to her ultimate desire.
Exactly. So, what I'm hoping to see from this character is that she realizes what the First Order is really all about and eventually comes around. I'd say, by the end of the series here. So, at least I'm hoping. But I got a feeling we're going to have a lot of confrontation in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I hope for with this character. Like, part of me is with you there. But it would be a little different.
Yeah.
If Tam fully commits to being a First Order pilot.
Right.
To the cause of the First Order. I think that would be an absolute curveball that we didn't see coming.
Right.
And I kind of like the idea of. And I think, personally, I don't want to see another character in conflict.
Okay.
I think characters in conflict is something that is too common. And I'd kind of like to just see a character that, they found what they want to do and that's what they're going to do. And they're a bad guy now.
Okay, but I mean, sometimes this character in conflict, I would say all we saw of Tam throughout this episode, she was in conflict. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say up until the end when she's, ultimately deciding to go one way, and that is with the First Order.
Right.
And, she puts an exclamation point on because Kaz says he has to make this transmission to Tam. And
she cast that aside.
Exactly. And that puts
on the helmet.
Yep. That's the exclamation point I'm talking about.
And I personally would like to see that be the end of it for her conflict.
Well, I think for the time being, at least, it's going to be. But I think eventually, somewhere down the road, something's going to happen to make her, see the light as far as what the First Order is really all about.
And part of me wants that because I've liked the character.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see the character end up on the side of the good guys in the end.
Right.
But at the same time, I'd rather that be what Tam sees as the right decision. Like, I'd rather see Tam feel vindicated in her decision, and confident from here on out. And essentially, a baddie.
Okay.
from here on out. Like I think that would be one good for the character going forward.
Right.
Because I think one thing Star Wars has done lately a little too much of is showing conflict in every character that they create. And sometimes that weakens the character.
Well, I don't think the conflict itself is necessarily the bad thing all the time. It's just how it's implemented sometimes, right? What we've seen so far,
so
I'm cool with as far as Tam goes.
Let me put it this way. Like, so let's compare everything that's happened lately to Vader and Anakin.
Yep.
Okay. You saw Anakin being conflicted for a long time.
Right.
Right. And then you see a Vader. A Vader who, for 2 movies, is not conflicted.
Yeah, but see, yeah, okay, so for 2 movies, right. I was going to say, in Jedi, he has to say out loud, there is no conflict,
Agreed. But for A New Hope and for Empire, there is no conflict.
Right.
Okay, he is set on his goals. And it can be argued that even in Jedi, up until the point where he saves Luke, there is no conflict. He's still set in his goals. His goal is to get Luke to join him and to overthrow the Emperor.
Yeah.
Not to do the Emperor's bidding. So he's still set in his goals, not conflicted.
He just hasn't come all the way around yet.
Right. Up until Luke is about to die. Once Luke's about to die, okay, now he's conflicted. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Okay, kill this guy.
I say there's conflict before that. When Luke's saying, I feel a conflict within you, he's not just saying it. Luke feels that.
Okay.
I mean...
But still, it takes till Jedi to get to that point.
Sure.
I think Vader, from A New Hope into Jedi, there is no conflict. He knows what he wants to do.
I think we see the first sparks of it, though, at the end of Empire.
When he reaches out to Luke?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's the very first spark of it.
Right. But at the same time, I think Vader's conflict was like this template that people writing Star Wars felt like they had to follow from then on out. Okay.
Okay, I see your point there.
And so every character that ends up being a bad guy has to have some sort of conflict in order to become a good guy.
Right.
Like you had this with Callus and Rebels. You had this with... there's just so many characters along the way that were conflicted.
Yeah, I got you.
And it's like, come on, just pick a side.
Right.
I just don't see it as that much of a common thread. It shouldn't be. I feel like Tam, okay, maybe she's conflicted in this episode.
Yeah.
She looks at that, she looks at her comlink. She's got a call from Kaz. She's conflicted in that moment for a second. And then decides, no, this is me now.
Right.
This is what I'm doing. That whole time leading up to it, all of last season while she's talking to that interrogator.
I just hope that she doesn't turn into another Pyre. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see a more complex angle with Tam because she's one of the main characters. Someone.
Yeah.
I mean, Pyre.
I'm not saying don't do justice to the character and don't give the character depth, but I just don't want to see any more conflict because I think if you eliminate that conflict, you give her some resolve in what she's doing, and you still make her an interesting and different character. Like you said, don't make her a pirate. Don't make her a Phasma. Don't make her,
Right.
that dedicated.
Right.
Maybe have a little bit of that connection to her old friends, but she's telling them, look, this is the way.
Right.
I want her convinced that she's doing the right thing.
Well, I would like to see that as well for a period of time. I think at some point, though, down the road, something will happen to make her see, wow, maybe I've made the wrong decision. And
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Right. I don't think, because I agree with you. In the meantime, right, for the meat of this season.
Yeah, I don't want to see her teetering on that.
Exactly. Right.
No,
I'm with you there.
She's made her decision now.
Yes.
And I want her to be committed to that decision until proven otherwise.
Right. And God knows the First Order is going to prove otherwise, right? So
Yes. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't mind seeing Tam being one of the the good people again.
yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
I wouldn't mind that because I really like the character.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But in the meantime, for the remainder of the season, probably until the last episode or second to last episode,
Right.
I want to see Tam committed to the decision she's made. And any and all interactions with her, like she says, former friends,
Right.
are with vindication.
Right.
She knows what she's done, and she knows it's for the right reasons. Whether it is or not is of no consequence.
Right. Exactly.
So that's what I want to see. Because and I think that serves the character of Tam better anyway.
Yep.
Because she is a strong character.
Exactly. This is where her belief and conviction will be focused now.
Yes.
Yeah.
She has always been a character of conviction.
Right.
A strong character. A character of opinion. And I'd like to see that continue. And I'd like to see that was her strength. And I'd like to see that remain her strength.
Yeah, agreed.
Until she's absolutely convinced otherwise, it shouldn't change. No conflict. No back and forth.
I like it. I think we settled into an agreement on that.
Yeah, I think we did. And as far as all the other characters go, I mean, they did a good job of, not changing anything with them.
Right. It was
Pick up where we left off.
pretty much. Yeah. I think it was a decent episode to set things up for the rest of the season, I think. So, we'll see where we're heading from here. But
Yeah, and I do like that in this series, there is not a character where you're like, oh, why is this character getting screen time? You don't feel that at all.
Exactly.
Every single character you feel invested with, and you want to see where they go.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, looking forward to next week because I haven't seen that one yet.
Nice.
So, yeah, all in all, good episode.
Yep.
Finally glad I get to talk about it.
Cool.
All right. Well, we said a lot tonight. And if you have anything to add, you can email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. But we're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all of that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsofmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.